Hi there, my name is Aaron Lanterman. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Georgia Tech, and I would like to show you what I just got from DigiKey. This is the Zybo Z7 FPGA development board by Digilent. This version has the Zynq-7000 chip. You can pay more money and get a version with the 7020 that's more powerful, but I think otherwise the board is more or less the same. And the 7010 should be good enough for my purposes here. On the back it says a bunch of stuff. You can also find this info on the website. Let's see what's inside the box. Here's the website. Hopefully there's more details from there. There's a little thank you card. Find your new product on reference.digilentinc.com for guides and tutorials. Okay, and that's it. So it doesn't come with any cables or any other doodads, just the board. All right, so let's see. I'm careful to handle this by the edge here. There's an SD card slot down here. On the front here, we have 4 buttons, 4 switches, a couple buttons here. A couple of, are those HDMI ports? Yeah, it has not 1, but 2 HDMI ports. Let's see, there's this connector here. Maybe that's for a camera? Not sure. I have to look that up. On-off switch over here. Programming UART connector, that's micro USB. Over here, there's a micro USB on the bottom. And then there's a regular USB on the top. And DC input jack, Ethernet. Over here, this is what I'm interested in. There's a mic in and a line in. And I think these are stereo, but you have to use one or the other. It's not like it has 4 inputs. Here's stereo headphone out, some sort of little jumpers, other little places you can add jumpers or doodads. And these connectors here, there's 1, 2 connectors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connectors. These are for PMOD peripherals, and that's where these come into play. So I picked up a couple of these I2S2 PMOD interfaces. So it has a stereo codec on the back here. And here's the top. It's got stereo line in and out and the little PMOD connector. So I have a couple of these. So between these and the codec built into the board, which is actually a different kind of codec than these, but it's all generic I2S2 codec. That gives me 6 audio inputs and 6 audio outputs. Okay, Zybo Z7. Wow, there's a lot here. All right. I don't see anything saying quick start guide. Let me go to the Zybo Z7 website. Scroll down a bit. Okay, here's a bunch of documentation. Tutorials. Installing Vivado, Vitis, and Digilent board files. Okay, I guess we'll need to do that. Okay, so it looks like there's no Macintosh version. That's to be expected. The question is, will it run in Windows for ARM in parallels on my Mac? Prerequisites. 60 gig? Are you serious? 60 gig? I just spent an entire day clearing up hard drive space. Okay, I'm now running Windows 11 for ARM in parallels. Let's see, open the Xilinx download page, find the section entitled Vivado ML version number. Make sure to check the version, as the level of support for your board may differ depending on the version. Okay, let's go to the downloads page. Okay. Let's see, on the Zybo Z7 GitHub, there's some projects that reference 2024.1. So I'm going to guess that 2024.2 is probably good. We'll see. Let's see, self-extracting web installer for Windows. Here we go. Oh, I need to make an account. U.S. export regulations require that your blah, blah, blah be verified. Okay. Download. Open file. Sure. This release requires upgrading your license server Please confirm with your license admin. Oh, I guess I'm the license admin. Anyway, I'm going to start this and then see what it complains about. Let's see. Installs Vitis Core Development Kit. Installation includes Vivado Design Suite. So it looks like you can install Vivado separately. And there's some odds and ends. Looks like I want this one. I guess we'll go with the default setup here. Agree, 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 agree. Agree, agree, agree. Agree. It needs 280 gig? What the heck? Okay, what if we unclick everything except the Zynq-7000 support? Okay, so that dropped the requirement by 40 gig, but it still needs 239 gig, seriously? Okay, let me also uncheck this business about Alveo and Edge Accelerator platforms and Kira SOMs and starter kits. One thing I need to be careful about is I don't think this 204 gig free shown here is real. If I look at the file for my parallel virtual machine, it only has 52 gig in it. So I think this file here basically expands and contracts as needed. And if I hit the limit of space on my main Mac disk, this probably is not really available, I think. Anyway, that brought my disk space required down to 74 gig, and it lists a final disk usage of 40 gig, so maybe it needs to expand stuff out and contract it back down. That's really weird. Anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and create C/Xilinx. Okay, you must disconnect all Xilinx platform cable USB 2 cables before proceeding. I don't think I have any such things. So let's do this. All right, this is going to take a while. Windows wants me to update. Remind me tomorrow. I said, remind me tomorrow. Oh, what circle of hell is this? I hate Windows. Pick a time. Sure. Now will you leave me alone? It took 43 minutes to download files. Installing files 31% completed. I should go get dinner. Ah, we're up to final processing. Install cable drivers. You must disconnect. Okay, I don't think I have any special cables connected. Install this driver software anyway. Yeah. Okay, it says here that the installation was completed successfully, but now I have this error message. WinPcap by Riverbed Technology can't run on this device because it causes security or performance issues on Windows. Uh-oh. Let's see, what is WinPcap? The industry standard Windows packet capture library. Last news is from September 2018. Oh no. WinPcap, though still available for download, has not seen an upgrade in many years, and there are no roadmap future plans to update the technology. Oh, I bet this is a thing where the fact that I'm running an ARM processor is a problem. The NMAC project founder has created NPCap, a packet capture library for Windows that includes WinPcap compatibility. Oh, I hope I don't have to look into this. Maybe for most of what I need to do, I don't need WinPcap. Keep your fingers crossed. So I happen to have a micro USB to USB-C cable handy, and it looks like it comes preloaded with a blinky LED program. But I want to see if I can upload my own blinky LED program. Allow accessory to connect, Digilent Adapt USB device. That's a good sign. So I think it should have asked me if I want the macOS to see it or Parallels to see it. Ah, okay. The mistake I made is I had Parallels paused when I turned it on. I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and now it's saying where to connect, and we'll say Windows 11. Parallels Desktop wants to access it. Okay, so here I have other devices, Digilent Adapt USB device, so Windows can see it. I have Vitis, Vitis Classic, Vitis Console, Vitis Model Composer, and Vivado. Let's try this Vitis, whatever that is. Launching the Vitis Unified IDE. Okay, let's get started, I guess. Set workspace. It wants me to choose a directory. Let's call it Vitis Workspace. Select folder. The folder name is not valid. It won't let me just create a folder here. Okay, let's go to the OS, say new folder, and we'll call this Vitis Workspace. Okay, select that. It's weird it wouldn't just make one for me. Okay, off camera, I quit the program and reopened it, and now it's complaining that it doesn't want to use that workspace. Okay, let me make a new workspace. Let's call this Vitis Workspace 2. Not sure what's going on there. Okay, set workspace, Vitis Workspace 2. Select folder. It does not open quickly. Okay, I clicked on the Hello World example and went down a rabbit hole. I'm thinking if I just want to test a connection to the board, this may not be the right place to start. Let's try out this Vivado suite. And yes, I can go look up tutorials and I can read documentation, but I often like to just dive into a piece of software, and to a certain extent, I judge it on the basis of what I can figure out by just messing around.
A few minutes later.
Okay, that was a bad idea. Anyway, it's my own fault. I should have noticed this thing that says Digilent board files here earlier. So let me look up board files, because we need to download those. Here we go. Master branch zip archive of Digilent's Vivado boards. I'll allow it. Okay, so I'm supposed to go to new board files and copy all of these subfolders. Where do I need to copy them? I need to copy them to my Xilinx Vivado folder, version, data, boards, board files. Oh, I probably should have done this download on the Windows side, but I think I can drag and drop them right into the Windows window. Okay, so we want Xilinx Vivado 2024.2 data boards, board files. If this folder doesn't exist, create it. All right, so let's go into boards. It doesn't exist, so let's create a new folder that says board underscore files. And then I'm supposed to drag and drop all of these files into that. Here we go. Will it let me do this? Oh, it let me do that. That's awesome. I love parallels. Okay, so let's try to create a project. Next, users Lantima project 1, sure. Do not specify sources at this time. And now let's try looking up the Zybo board. This is what didn't work earlier. Wait a minute. Why do I not see it? Oh, wait, this says parts. I bet I need to click on boards. There we go. Now let's search for Zybo. Zybo Z710. So let's select that. Why am I going to the website? Oh, I probably clicked on something that said, go take me to the documentation. Okay. A new RTL project, project 1 will be made. The default part and product family will be added. Finish. Creating project, initializing project. Okay, I went through all of that. All I really want to do is ask this program, do you see the board? Can you talk to the board? Apparently there's something called the hardware manager. Open hardware manager. It says we're unconnected and no hardware target is open. Let's try to open target. Auto connect. Connecting to server. Windows Firewall has blocked some of the features. Let's allow it. Okay, connect to hardware server. I don't think that worked. I think the program should just see it. Let's click on Adapt USB device. The drivers are not installed. Drivers are not installed. Why does it show 2 of these? To find a driver for this device, click Update Driver. Oh boy. Yeah, was expecting that. Driver provider unknown. Driver date not available. Bleh. Let's see, I found this thing that says install drivers in the data XICOM, cable drivers, NT64 directory, install drivers. What does this do? It did that. Install drivers wrapper. Okay. Okay, let's try running this from a command prompt. Install drivers wrapper. You must have admin privileges. Okay, let's try it with admin privileges. Info log file. Okay, maybe we can check out a log file. Okay, let's look at this log file. Total attempted, info, running Digilent installer. Your system is up to date with the components of this installer. So it thinks it's happy. Although if I scroll back in the log, I see this error, must have admin privileges to run this installer several times. But I am running this as an admin. Okay, this is interesting. I gave up and tried installing it on our Intel. And it shows up as an extra USB composite device. It doesn't actually have that name, Digilent, yada, yada, yada. But it does show up here. If I unplug it, this goes down to 6. When I plug it in, I get 7. So let's go over here. I'm going to say open target, open new target, next, local server, next, connecting to server. Ah, it looks like it's here. Xilinx something, something, something. It looks like there's an ARM core that's part of it, and there's whatever that FPGA is. Say next. Okay, finish. It looks like we now have a board hooked in here. Excellent. Okay, let me try this again on my M1 Mac. Let's open the hardware manager. Maybe I didn't quite understand this earlier. Do you want to allow public and private networks to access this app? Sure. We'll say open target, open new target. All right, let's say next. Let's search on local server, connecting to server, no target. Okay, this works on my Intel Windows box, but it's not working on my Apple Silicon laptop running Windows 11 in parallels. So it looks like it's an architectural issue. It seems like I could probably do all of my development on the Apple Silicon machine on my Mac, but to actually deploy to the actual FPGA, I need to use an Intel machine. Oh, sadness. It is kind of weird, though, that on my Mac it shows up as a Digilent Adapt USB device, but on my Intel Windows box, it just shows up as a generic USB device. If anyone knows a trick to making this work fully on my ARM Mac, please let me know.